Today we're making 5 brand new pieces from wallpaper. Keep watching. I'm Brandy, and this is Making It My Own DIYs. Welcome back. The first is a round bird print. All right, so we're going to start off with some of this rich espresso paint. You know, this is one of my favorites for distressing and antiquing. And I'm going to use some of this oil rubbed bronze spray paint. It's almost black. And then here we have the beautiful wallpaper that I got from Temu. Love it. Beautiful. The mushrooms, the birds, the trees, all of it. So here is our round tray, and this came from Dollar Tree. We're going to fix that problem of not having the right types of picture frames for our projects. So we'll start by taking off our tags and by cleaning our pieces. I'm just going to use a little glass cleaner here and paper towel and just wipe off any oils, dust, dirt, debris, germs, whatever. After it's dry, I'm going to take it outside and give it 2 coats of the spray paint, focusing mainly around the edges and the sides. The center really doesn't matter. It's going to be covered. Now we have to make a round piece, and we need a template. But look, this round from Dollar Tree fits perfectly in this round tray. So now I'm going to take the tags and stuff off, get them out of the way. I'm going to lay them down on the paper and then flip it over so I can see exactly what piece I'm going to be cutting. So I'm just going to move it around a little bit, flip it over, check it out till I get it exactly where I want it. Then I can just trace that circle out on the back. It is rolled very tightly, so I'm just going to hold that to the side while I cut it. I'll trim it down. And if you're careful with the scraps that you have, the excess that you have, you can use those pieces on other projects and really stretch your dollar. Now that I have a more manageable piece, although it's still tightly rolled, it's trying to curl back on itself, I'll show you later in the video how you can fix that. I'm just going to trim all the way around on top of the line. And this is what we're left with. I love it. We have 3 little birds in there, some mushrooms, pine cones, a great representation of that wallpaper that I bought. All right, now that I know that it's perfect, I am going to take the backing off. You can use a Cricut tool, you can use weeding tools, I just have a little awl there and use it to help me separate. Or else you'll be sitting there picking it with your fingers forever. Don't ask me how I know. Okay, so now we're just going to start applying this down. I'm going to use the back section and my fingers to brace it down on the plate. And there's no exact science to this. You just have to really take your time and look before you put it down. Because I put it down a little too high toward the top, and on the bottom it's, it's not completely in the center. You'll see. But because of all the paint techniques that we're going to be using for this, I really think in the end, it's not that noticeable. Once you put this down, you're not going to get it back up. It is firmly attached. It's got really good adhesive on it. So I'm just going to push it down a little bit with my hands, and then you can grab any type of squeegee that you have or whatever and press it in place. And now I'm going to take that beautiful espresso and put it down. And then we're going to use a chippy brush to go into it. And then we're going to tap a lot of that off. Now what this does, in case you're wondering why you would put all that on and then take it off, it pushes the paint up into the fibers of the hairs on the brush and it holds onto it. So packing it down like that pushes it up there. So I don't have to dip into the paint as often because I still have paint in that brush. It's going to depend on the amount of pressure you use when you put it down. And it just takes practice, y'all. It's definitely something that you can do. All right, so you know me, I'm going to start off light going around. I question it. I always question it, I don't want to be doing too much, but, then again, it's paint. You can always fix it if you don't like it. All right, so we're going to take this plastic tray, and we are going to turn this into a beautiful antique. Almost looks like a metal tray. In fact, my husband came down when he saw what I was doing. He saw the finished project and he thought that it was a metal frame. So, yeah, I think I achieved what I was trying to accomplish. So now I've gone around there and you can see the details in that tray. And then I'm going to go around gently on the inside underneath where that is, you know, where we just colored. Now, I really want you to believe in yourself. I want you to believe in yourself and trust that you can do projects like this. I hear, you know, people say in the comments they could never do it, but you can. If I can do it, I'm no different than you are, right? I'm no different than you are. You practice and you can do it. All right, then we'll start to bring that paint over onto the picture itself. So I'm turning the brush in another direction. I'm kind of feathering it out into the picture, into the print, because it's a really bright, beautiful print. But because I want it to look a little more aged, it takes a little more work to make it look naturally aged. So far, I love the frame. Love it. Let's take our tag off, of course. I'm going to make sure I'm toward the top, toward the center. But with this type of hanger, you don't have to be exact. I'm going to take a little bit of hot glue, and I mean a very little bit. Try not to touch it with the tip of that gun because this is a very thin plastic and you don't want to melt a hole in it. Have it bubbling. And then I'm just going to add my hanger down. And it is off center. It is not exactly where it needs to be, but the beauty of hanging them like this is that you can slide it back and forth on your nail or your command hook or whatever you're hanging it on, and you can still get it, you know, balanced and pretty. All right, now if it bothers you that that is showing on the back, just, you know, paint it or color it with a marker, and you can make those ends disappear. So here it is so far. I'm checking it out from all angles like I do on all of my projects. I'm thinking, I think we can do a little more to this. So, you know, I've got my Waverly Antique and Wax here. We're going to go into that. I'm using the same brush that I applied the beautiful bronzy espresso color. And I am just going to start going around the edges just like we did you know, the same aging effect that we did when we did the beautiful mystery woman on the stairs from a recent video. I'm just going to kind of darker around the edges, a little bit lighter pressure toward the inside, and I'm just going to pull it gently inward until the entire thing looks as though it is faded. And this is my end result. I absolutely love it. You can watch my videos on Mondays and Thursdays at 6. See you in the comments. All right, the next is an oval bird print. Similar but different. Okay, so we're going to use a Hunt Club green because it matches some of the green in my wallpaper. The antiquing wax, of course, and a chippy brush. I'm going to use some brown satin ribbon. And another tray. This one, however, is a turkey tray from Dollar Tree. So it's an oval, and the trim around the edges is definitely different. It reminds me of wicker or rattan, so I thought, all right, we're going to go with that. We are going to make this piece look as though it is like a wood piece, okay? So here's my beautiful print, and I'm deciding that I really do love this bird here, and I think it's big enough to go right in the middle and look like a single print. So let's go ahead and trim this off. And all I'm doing, there's nothing exact here, all I'm doing is using the weight to help hold my paper in place, and I'm just cutting the excess away. All right. So, because we need a template here, I don't have anything in my stash that is going to work. So I'm just going to use some craft paper. This is just a roll of craft paper. I'm going to lay it down in that tray, and I'm going to hold it in place and push toward the edges. These are going to give little creases around the edges, enough that I can begin to find the right form for this picture. And again, this is not exact. It's not an exact science. If you have an exact way to do this, feel free to do that. This is just me showing you what you can do, and me trying to be creative in my own way. So I'm just going to take a marker. You can use a pencil or pen. I just had this one within reach. And I'm going to hold it in place and trace around the edges. And I'm just feeling to make sure it's about right. Then I'll cut it out, and I'll have a big oval template. And it's going to fit nicely over the bird. We're going to cut the inside of this out so we can see exactly where the bird will be close to center. So I'm going to leave enough on there that I can work with it and see where my circle is or my oval is, but have a little window in the middle so I make sure that he is pretty centered. I want to capture the right piece. I don't want half of a bird in my frame, you know what I mean? So now I'm just going to go around it. And y'all, I used a pen and I should have used a pencil, but you know what? I used a big chunky, one of those erasers that we had to have in school, the big pink bubblegum colored ones, and it erased it right off this wallpaper. I don't know if that says something for the pen, the eraser, or the manufacturers of the wallpaper, but I was very pleased about it. So we're just gonna go all the way around until we get back up to the top. And then I can clearly see my line. I'm gonna cut it out. I could cut directly on top of the line and that would get rid of the line, but I like to cut a little bit to the outside of my lines just to give myself some wiggle room. I'm just gonna trim all the way around there until I get it where it looks to me like it's right. So it is peel and stick wallpaper. I know I didn't mention that before, but you can tell if you peel the back and away, it's called peel and stick. You can also use contact paper. If you're not a fan of Temu, if you're not, you know, you don't want to use wallpaper, go grab some really pretty contact paper or drawer or shelf liner. It's fairly inexpensive. You can get really a couple of nice prints at Dollar Tree. Has like a black and white rose. It's very pretty that I've used in several projects. You can also use wallpaper and Mod Podge or gift wrap and Mod Podge. You know, just be creative. Think outside the box when you craft. All right, now I'm just going to use my finger and we're going to push it down here. I'm going to use my hands to smooth it out. Is it perfect? It is not. But with the techniques we use, we're going to make it look even better. So now I'm using my squeegee and I'm working it toward the outside. You could hear little popping sounds in there when you hit a bubble or a little section that is not completely stuck down. That's a very easy thing to fix, and I'll show you what to do. All right, so you take a little stick pin, little tiny head on it like that, go into the side of whatever bubble that you have, press it at a slant, and then just rub over it and the air will come right out. Poking a hole in the bubble like popping a balloon, right? Just to the side and then push it out. Perfect. All right, now we got two choices here. I've got a moss Waverly and I have a home decor Spanish moss. But I really think the bluish tint and that one is going to work best. So we're going to go with the lighter moss color. It also looks great with the color of the leaves that are in this picture. Now we're going to start bringing this out. And really this looks like wicker to me. It looks like painted wicker. And definitely by the end of it, when you see everything we do to it, you are really, I think you will see that too. Now don't worry if you get a little heavy-handed in some spots. As long as you are being gentle, you can take a barely damp paper towel and kind of blot off if you get too much in one area. Or you could, you know, if you didn't use spray paint and you used a base coat underneath, you could use that same base coat and just dot it over the top of it to take those little types of mistakes or whatever you want to call them out. I'm just going to work with it though. So I'm doing the outside, I'm doing the inside of it. We haven't got on the picture yet, but we will. And then I'm going to go back and forth all the way around on that edge. Because these trays have like a flat lip on the outside, I want to make sure that I get that too. Now we're going to take some of that green paint and we're going to sort of blend or overlap slightly onto the picture that's on the inside. This gives us more of a silhouetted look, gives it more of a recessed look, and it helps blend out the edges so that if you have any mistakes or errors in your shape, it just kind of fades it out. Now between each paint layer that you put down, it's very important that you dry it. This is a high temp glue, not glue, drying tool or heat tool. So I put it on low and keep it far away from that plastic because it can melt plastic. Now I'm going to use a damp baby wipe, and this is just a plain, like a water wipe. And I'm going to add a little, and then I'm going to kind of blend it, squishy, squishy all over here. When you put on antiquing wax with something other than a brush, I want to say it's the result. The result is a little different. It's more faded, and you have the ability, since it's a little bit damp, to move it around a little bit more. So it's actually blending slightly into the paint that is around the edge, and that is what I want. You see how bright that is still in the center? We're going to fix that. Now I'm going to take it and go over all of the parts that look like new because we want these to look aged, right? So I'm going to go all around it, and this I think really adds to the idea of this possibly being a wooden piece because it looks to me, again, like it is wicker or rattan or whatever you want to call it. Y'all look at the difference. Look at the difference. So now we're going to take that same wipe with the same antiquing wax, and we're going to blend it, start blending inward toward the picture, keeping it in an oval shape because I don't want to lose that outline. I love that it is oval, and it's almost like looking through a little peephole toward the bird, right? So pretty. So we're going to dry that layer now. And then I'm just going to rub a little bit of this right over the top of that bird. It's barely any wax on that brush. Remember, the pressure that you apply makes a big difference. Look at him. It's so pretty. I looked up all these birds, and I'll give you the names shortly. Love it. I love him, love him. And these two came from, they look like beautiful antique prints to me. And they came from wallpaper, y'all. Wallpaper. So let's make a hanger. I've been making these hangers lately and I really enjoy them. So I'm going to just use this is like a curtain hanger wood piece, and I'm going to put that satin ribbon over it. It's probably almost 2 feet of ribbon, but I don't need to use it all. You see how far I've got it stretched down on the back here? I'm going to add some glue gently, again, without touching the tip of that hot glue tool down. Then I'll open it up, add a little bit of glue on that ribbon, and place the other piece right down. Be sure that you try to get this centered because I did not the first time and I had to fix it. Now, if you want to go back in and add some spots and dots here and there where you feel like you want to, you can. And then you can just tap, tap, tap them with the side of your brush. And this will give it the look of a little more distressing. I actually scratched the paint off of a piece, and that's why I did that. And then I thought, hey, let's do it all over the place. It just adds to the antique look, right? I think it's so pretty, and I hope y'all try these, but there's so much more to come. Thank you so much for supporting me. To my channel members, your fees help to make this content free for everybody else. Big hugs. So the next is a wren treasure box. Little bird you see is a wren. All right, we're going to get that same antique and wax. I got a sponge. You can use Gorilla Glue, or you can use a glue gun, or you can use a drill. I've got some sanding pieces, or you can use like a sanding tool of your own. Some little screwdrivers. These came out of a snowman kit, but they're flat on one side, which makes it perfect to use in this project. You see how they're flat? Perfect. Then I have some little corner pieces. These came from Temu. Love these. Very pretty little metal pieces. And a box that I thrifted. I actually thrifted 2 of these. So we'll be doing another project with the other one. Very pretty little wooden piece. And wallpaper. So I'm going to choose a piece that has the wren in it. All right, now we are going to sand it down. Now, I started off by sanding it by hand just to show you that, if you have a little box that you want to sand by hand, you can certainly do it. It's going to take a little longer. And for my purposes in this video and getting this content out for you, I took it outside and I used my hand sander on it. I sanded the top, the bottom, the sides, and I also sanded the inside lip. So this is how it looks. I'm going to leave the inside of it just the way it was. And you can see I got all of that off of there, pretty much. We're going to leave some. It just, it's fine. We're going to cover it up. And we are going to now put feet on here. So we're going to use those little rounds for feet. I suppose if you wanted to, if you had some chunky beads, you could use a bead for this, a wood bead. You can use whatever type of feet or legs you want on your little box. So I've got my tool over here. I've got the screws that are going to be the right depth for it. I got the right drill bit that's going to be a little bigger than the size of the screw. And I'm just going to start drilling down in all of these little feet. Nobody wants to see me do all that, so I'm just going to do all those and put those aside. Then I'll take my drill and I'll start putting some holes in the bottom, far enough inside that I'm not drilling into the wall. You can mark and measure and do all that good stuff. And I'm going to put those screws down in here. I'm going to push them through so they'll all be screwed in. I've now got the screw bit in the end. I'll drill all of these all the way through so they're sticking out on the outside, and that will give us essentially like a little peg that we're going to screw the feet on. So you just grab those and you just go ahead and screw those down. Now the screwdriver on the inside of the box is just holding the screw still so that it's not spinning as I screw on the foot. So I'm just using that to kind of hold it still. Otherwise it'll just kind of back out and it'll take forever, in my experience. Nice. We're going to get them all on there. If you want to use wood glue before you get it tightened all the way down, you can do that. But, we're not going to be standing in here or loading bricks with it, so we really don't need that kind of hardware. Now look at these beautiful gloves. Aren't they lovely? I got a pack of 4 and they are long. I look so 50s. La 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 la. Yes, back to this. Let's grab that sponge. It is dry. I am going to dip into that beautiful wax and just start putting the wax on. And you just put it on there and you just rub it into the wood. I'm making sure that I get around the hardware and underneath the hardware. This wax is not going to hurt it. If anything, it's conditioning, so it'll, help loosen everything up. I'm going to go around the little feet too. There is a little space in between where the feet connect to the box. So you can grab a little paintbrush and dip into that and just fill those in. Not difficult to do at all. And I just decided to put the gloves on to see if I could even work with gloves on, y'all. I am so messy when I craft. I get in a hurry. I stay covered in paint. My nails look awful. But it is just a mark of my dedication to my job. That's what it is. I love my job. And I've never been the type of person who was grossed out by messes. My daddy raised me outside and we played in the mud and we played with frogs and we went fishing and touched that stinky catfish bait, and we just were those kids, and we were girls. So we're not scared of messes. No, we're not. Now we're just going to go over every single side and go around every single foot. You don't want any white gaps in here, right? We want this to be beautiful. We want this to look like something that is old and antique, possibly passed down to you from someone else. And this is going to be a wonderful little treasure box. Now, I'm not putting any of the wax on the top of the box at all. We're going to leave that plain and we're going to dry this wax. We don't put any wax on the top, none. If you need to, mark it with a marker or something so that you don't put any wax on that spot. Y'all, why don't y'all give me a thumbs up if you're enjoying this video and think about subscribing to my channel. I do all kinds of silly stuff over here. Now look, that would have been my hands if I hadn't used those beautiful gloves. So now just to show you the measurements of this box, it is 8.5 by 8.5 square. Okay. Same here, 8.5 by 8.5. This is the twin box. I'm just measuring to make sure they're exactly the same because while the other is drying, I want to use this one as my template. Now I'm looking underneath to make sure I get that beautiful little wren in there. I'm just peeking and moving it around. And then I can trace it out. This time I'm using a pencil. So we've used markers, pens, and pencils. Gonna go around in a square. And of course the benefit of using the pencils, it easily erases. It's a little bit lighter to see though when you're using decorative paper like this. So, you know, it's up to you what you want to do. And I'm going to cut it out. This paper is so thick. I'm just really impressed by the quality of it. And this is not a sponsored video. It doesn't matter to me where you get your wallpaper or whatever you're using from. You could use a calendar page. It doesn't matter. But I was just surprised at the price of one roll of the paper and being able to make so many projects and still having some left. Look, this is going to be so beautiful on the top of this little treasure box. But to put it down, we're going to add some dishwasher Mod Podge underneath. Dishwasher Mod Podge because it's thicker. But y'all, I want you to see the mess. There was no way in this world I needed that much Mod Podge. Not one bit. But, you know, I make mistakes. We all make mistakes. And I'm just going to show you how we're going to work with it. So I'm going to go over to the edges and pull it to the center. And then we're going to save our Mod Podge because that's what I do. And that box is clean. It's been sanded. It's been wiped off. It is clean. We're saving that Mod Podge. I'm not going to waste it. No. And I've done this on many, many projects. It doesn't make it clump. It doesn't cause a problem. It is perfect. Now, if you drag any off to the edge, be sure that you scrape it off. You don't want to leave that on the edge, okay? And you don't want to leave it on the edge because it will dry with a different finish than just the wax that we're using on the other sides. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, this is still a little bit damp. And it works out because remember how I told you this paper is very, very adhesive. It's very strong. Well, let me show you how we benefit from having that Mod Podge underneath. All right, so now I've peeled half the back up. I'm holding the sticky part in my hand, holding the other piece away, and I'm trying to get my center here. I'm putting it down, and it's looking okay so far. So I'm gonna push, 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 squeegee it in place. Keep going, keep going. Still waiting on that reveal, aren't we? Still going, still going, still going. And we're done. Okay, now you see there on the edge, you see there's a spot that didn't get covered. Look how easily I can adjust this now by using the Mod Podge underneath. Just lift it a little bit and reposition it. Oh, wonderful. So now I know that I can use some Mod Podge underneath sticky wallpaper or contact paper to make it repositionable. But once it dries, you're not going to be able to move it. I guarantee you that. So it's perfect now. Plus, all the little bubbles are not there. They're not there at all. I'm going to go ahead and sand this off. Now, generally, you would want to wait until this is completely dry and then sand off the excess. But in order to get the videos out for you, I'm going to go ahead and show you how you can do that. It made no difference, by the way. Nothing shrunk or, you know, there was no issues. But my hand is on it because I want to make sure that I hold everything in place so nothing slips, although it's pretty well attached. I'm just using a finger sander here. These things are fantastic. I don't know where my whole craft in life, and I didn't know about these finger sanders till I saw some friends on another channel use them, and I thought, hey, that might be worth a shot. And they are game changers. Now I'm going to use a little different technique here. I'm going to scuff this up almost to make it look like this was painted on top of this box. I'm just using I think this is a 60 or 80 grit paper, and I'm just going to sand across the top to get that really pretty look. It's all scuffed up, and now all the shine is gone out of it. I'm going to use my foam now. It's got that same amount of antiquing wax on it. And I'm going to go around the corners, just starting in the corners because I want that to be the widest part. And then I'll go down the edges and kind of blend those in so it almost makes a circle around the bird. Do you see how now the center of the box is highlighted? I love the look of this. The shininess is gone from the paper. Not that it was very shiny anyway. I would say maybe it's more of a satin look, but now it's more matte. And I'm just blending that out now over the edges of the box. And then lightly rubbing across the center. This will highlight the scratches that I put in there so that you can see the little scratches, and it looks like it's painted on. All right, now we're going to add those beautiful little pieces on the edge. I used wax here, so it was kind of an experiment to see if I could get these to stick down. Obviously, the wax will repel glue, so we're not going to use that. I'm going to try a little E6000. So super glue or E6000 would work, or you could completely let this dry and then grab something to glue it down. And y'all don't be worried by the fact that it says wax. It's not going to make it waxy or greasy or too shiny. It's just very conditioning, and it's a lovely way to distress and change the wood, or really anything you use it on. And this is the day after, and I am very happy to say that these are still very firmly attached to that box. So if you are wondering if that would work for you, I'd say give it a shot. I can only speak from my own experience though, so just use whatever type of adhesive or technique you want to use. I know some little corner pieces, if you get them elsewhere, have little tiny nails and you can actually nail those in. These didn't come with those, so whatever you think you want to use. Remember, when you see crafts on my channel and thrift flips on my channel, it's all about inspiring you to make it your own. That's why my channel is named Making It My Own DIYs, because I want you to see what I do and think, okay, I know that I have a little jewelry box. It's not the same, but I don't use it. Maybe it's pink. Maybe it's something your little girl had and now she's a teenager and she doesn't want it. Go in there and get that thing. Sand it down. It's just paint. It'll come off, and go ahead and fix it. Tear that silly unicorn paper out of the inside and give it a good paint, or line it with some fabric. You know, think about how you could do it to make it your own. And I hope you do feel inspired watching this video. All right, little finishing touch. I'm just going back over it and making sure everything is pretty to my eye. What would you put in a little treasure box like this? In the very end of the video, you'll see what I did with mine. I put a collection in there. I really, really do like this. Like it very much. And see, I didn't even change the inside. It's exactly the same. You could always go on the inside where those silver screws are and give those a little touch of paint, of brown paint, so that they blend in and you don't see it. But the way I use this to display, you will not even be able to see the screws underneath. I love this little box. I hope you do too. So the next is a Firecrest book box. And it's called a Firecrest book box because I'm using this book box. This was originally a Target piece. It was a $5 bullseye piece, I believe. I bought a bunch of these for 50 cents a piece at Dirt Cheap over the summer, I do believe. And I'm going to use some scraps of the wallpaper that I have left over, and then I'll have to cut another piece also. But this is going to look so cute. I'm also going to use my little squeegee and my sander. And of course, my antiquing wax. We want all these pieces to look like they would go well together. Now I'm just going to kind of put this on here to see what's going to fit where, making sure that all of my edges are covered. If something overlaps, that's okay. We're going to take care of that. We'll be trimming it off and sanding it off, so that won't be a problem. Although this is a book box, you can actually use this for anything, and you'll see that at the end of the video. All right, so here's the beautiful little firecrest, little bird right here. Y'all, I did a Google image search. So if any of these are wrong, just know I didn't go to an actual bird site, so please be nice to me. I don't know all the names of all the birds, but you know, we learn. It's a learning process, and whatever its name is, it's just as cute as a button. All right, so now we're going to pull the piece off once we've got it in a position where we know we want it to be. Precious little bird on there. And I'll put it about here. Carefully put it down. I didn't need to sand this piece, although if you have something similar that you think you want to use, be sure that you've sanded it down so you don't have any problems with your paper sticking down. This was already, you know, a decent piece. This is not actually wood, it's more like an MDF. So I'm using my squeegee sideways or kind of at a slant to push down on where my edges are, so I will know exactly that well, for one thing, my paper is going to be firmly adhered, but I can also kind of visualize where I'm going to need to sand. So I'm just going to start sanding it off and removing the little excess pieces. I'm going to bend this little part down because there's a lip at a slant on this box, and I'll be cleaning that up too. First, I'll take the scissors and just trim it off. And then I can sand it to make sure that it is perfect and crisp. No need to even paint this box because we're going to put all this beautifulness on it. I'm going to go to the other side and I will get that off. And you know, as I was doing this, I was thinking, when I put the sides on here, are they going to overlap and look ugly? How is that going to work with the paper? Because I've never done it like in a situation where it's all the way around, but I figured it out, y'all. I sure did. You know why? Because I don't give up on my crafts. I just keep going. I see it in my head and I just go with it. And I encourage you to do the same thing. You know, if it brings you joy, and I love crafting. I absolutely love crafting. I love creating for YouTube. I love creating ideas for you. I love inspiring you, talking to you in the comment section. You know, it's a lot of fun. I really do love my job, and for that, I thank you. If you're a subscriber, a viewer, a channel member, all of the things that you do here, the commenting, the liking, the sharing the videos is wonderful. It's wonderful. It's so helpful and so appreciated. I'm just humbled that people see my work and think that it's something they keep coming back for, that they really like it. And I love that, and I thank God for that. All right, so now we're working on the sides. I'm just doing the same kind of process here, and I'm again thinking, oh boy, how are we going to make this edge crisp? But we're going to manage. We are going to manage. I'm going to get most of that excess out of the way. I'm going to push down firmly with that little squeegee on that line so nothing peels up while I'm sanding. I'm going to gently go around where the feet are on here, go around the back. The whole time wondering, am I going to mess this up for the video or get it right? All right, so I'm going to peel that off. And then, while praying and through clenched teeth, I'll go over the edge, and y'all look. Y'all look. Perfect. So I'm going to go over here to the other side with another piece of scrap paper. I wanted this mushroom on this box, so I just rotated the paper in a way that it would show up. And it fit. Peel it off. Remember, use a little tool if you need help getting your paper away from the backing. And then I'm just going to place this down. And look at this wallpaper, and y'all, it is so pretty. I think something like this would be beautiful, like in my bathroom, because I love birds, and I already have blue and greens in there, like on my shower curtain. This would be so pretty in that bathroom. So pretty. All right, now I cannot stress enough how important it is to use that squeegee. You want your bubbles out, you want everything nice and flat, and make sure nothing peels away. So here we go on that edge. I'm feeling much more confident about my edge work here because I'm sanding away I'm not sanding over the piece that's already down underneath, so I don't have to worry about that, right? Now I'm going to go a little bit extra with the sander around the feet. Once everything's taken off, going to go around my edges and just scuff it up a little bit. You know, I'm just kind of making the white from underneath show because it shows here on the edges, and since it is there, we're going to make sure that that look is all over the entire box. We want this to look intentional, right? Okay, so far so good. Now, if you don't like the distressed look, just leave it like this. You know, you can totally leave it just like this, put your books in there and be done. But I am, of course, going to put my wax on there because I like the way that looks. I like it very much. Old world, antique. Do y'all ever watch Urbex videos where they go and explore abandoned places, abandoned homes and hospitals and asylums and places like that? Even like theme parks that are abandoned. Oh my goodness, y'all. If you're looking for something to do, perhaps you're inside and you've already watched every video I've ever created. You can go to YouTube and you can look up Urbex and you can watch people all over the world explore abandoned places, and it is such a cool thing to do. I love to watch those videos sometimes while I'm working, but on days when I'm off and not working and it's raining or really cold and I can't go anywhere. I love watching those videos. You see so much history, and if you love antiques and just the forgotten history, I highly recommend you go check those videos out. I really love, I think his name is Mark Adam or Adam Mark. I like to watch him. He is from the UK. He does those videos. I really enjoy his videos. But it might not be everybody's style, but you know, if you like that kind of thing, it's pretty cool. So now we've got the inside distressed. I distressed the back slightly, not too much. But I really did a world of difference on that white background there. And I like it so much more. I love it. Always start light with your aging, and then you can get a little heavier if you're concerned that you might overdo it. I really, really love this. She's so cute, little firecrest. The next one is a Chaffinch mood lamp. Okay, so this is an old lamp that I thrifted. Very old, not safe to use with this cord at all. At some point, it will be rewired, but for now, we're going to craft with it. You're going to need a light source that is battery operated, obviously. Some type of a lampshade. And then, of course, some of that wallpaper. So this is the Chaffinch. You see the little bird underneath? That's him. He is also the same bird that is in the oval print that we did. All right, now I'm just looking to see if I can fit his whole body on there, and I can, which is exciting. So I'm going to trim down the paper. You can measure your lampshade, and this one is like a barrel shaped, or what do you call this shape? Drum shape. So it's very easy to cover this type because you can just roll it on essentially. So we got the measurements for the lampshade, and I'm going to go down on the back of the paper and put the measurements on here. Now you can see on the edge, I'm not exactly where I'm supposed to be, but that's because I didn't cut it evenly the first time. So I'm going to go from here and then go down to here and then continue all the way down. Then I'm going to turn my ruler sideways, make a long straight line, and then cut right on that line. Okay, so now two decisions. We can have the lampshade sitting this way, which has it very low, or the other way I showed you, which has the lampshade sitting up higher. And I like the idea of it being a little bit higher. So to get that kink out of the paper, I'm just going to roll it backwards on itself. You can put a rubber band on there and leave it, or you can just roll it and let it go. And look, it worked great. It worked great. Now it's temporary, but it worked enough for me to do what I need to do. I'm going to peel off that backing, but only about a third of the way. And I'll start my lampshade on the back. And because this is going to have a little gap in the paper, like a quarter of an inch, where it doesn't have any paper covering it, I want to be sure that it is right on that seam. I want a nice smooth front, so we're going to put the bumpiness or the whatever toward the back, right? I want the pretty part of my picture to be on the pretty part of the shade. Now I'm just going to roll this along with slight pressure and just peel a little bit, and so you can still raise this up and reposition it. This is like a linen type texture on this lampshade. If you want your lamp to be brighter, you can take the inner shade off, but I didn't have the right framework for it, so I left it on, and it gives it a very soft mood lighting. So here's a little gap I was talking about, although it would have lined up nicely had it been a little smaller. But you don't have to worry about that, because there's going to be a way to fix that. There's always a way to fix it, right? Just to keep it in place for now, I'm going to put these little clamps on here, and I'm going to smooth it out, rubbing it down, making sure that it has contact between the paper and the lampshade all the way around. If you put it flat on your table and rub from the inside outward, you don't have to worry about deforming your shade to get everything to stay in place. Okay, so now you have options. You have trim that you can use. This I thrifted. This came from Amazon. And this other little piece, I think, came from Dollar Tree a few years ago. I like this one. I think it has a old look, so I'm going to use this one here. I'm going to have about a 1/2 inch overlap, and then I'll trim it off. Now I can remove the clips, and we can start trimming down all the excess around the edges. Now, if you lay your scissors sideways on the frame itself, which is what I'm doing, is laying on the lamp, and there you have sharp scissors. Now, they need to be sharp so they're not snagging anything. You can see mine need a little sharpening. You're going to lay it flat on there and then trim all the way around, and this should give you a nice, flat, even finish with no little jig-jags on it. All the way around. I had little pieces of wallpaper fragments everywhere. And then we'll do the other side. Make sure that it's nice and flat all the way around. And then I'll take my clamps off. They were just helping me hold everything in place. I'll fix that little opening that was in my original lampshade. Flatten that out, make it nice and pretty. And we're not going to distress the lampshade. We're not going to distress this one at all, because any more darkening to it would make the light barely noticeable. So we're not going to do that on this lamp. But you'll see it looks totally different when the lights are off. So we're going to go down that little center part where the gap is. And if you don't have a gap, don't worry about it. But this is what you can do if you happen to have one. I always want to prepare you in case something doesn't go quite like you intended it to. We don't freak out and throw it away. No, we troubleshoot, right? We troubleshoot, problem solve. We're crafters. We craft up the right way to do it. I'm going to gently push that down. I love the look of this trim. And then I can just simply fold it over. Now you can fold it over and trim it off if you want. I was having an issue getting my scissors in there without hacking that trim to piece and having it fray, so I just left it like that. Doesn't bother me one iota. Press it down into there and just let that set up. And this is how that shade is going to look. Very pretty. These are perfect for spring, don't you think? Of course, any time of year if this is your style. So now the lamp base. I'm going to cut this off. Hey, antique lovers, don't freak out about this. It's okay. This would have to be replaced anyway. Always, always clean up your lamps. You know, it's from a thrift store, so clean it up, obviously. And then to keep it from falling apart, since it's held tight by this piece in the bottom, I'm just going to add some hot glue. This will peel right off. Using the same little water wipes over there, I'm just going to clean the entire thing. Now you can use any type of glass cleaner you want to use for this too, if yours is really grungy. I'm going to use the light bulb off of that little gold light, battery operated light that I saw earlier, that I showed you. Good grief, I need more coffee. Then I'm going to use this strand of lights because there are many more lights in here and they're much brighter, and we need something very bright to go in there to shine through 2 layers, okay? So I'm just going to curl it around on itself back and forth, the same essential length as the light bulb that we're stuffing it into, because it just will make it easier that way. And then I'm going to push it down into the light bulb, all the way in, leaving the wire part on the outside, you know, the clear part. And then I can take a little stick or something and push them around so they're a little more full and flared out on the inside of the bulb. It doesn't really matter. It's totally up to you. You won't really notice it that much. And then I'm going to find the back for this light. And I have no idea why the back wasn't with it. But look at here. Found the back. And I put it on. And now we are going to attach this on the inside. I used some double stick mounting tape. And I'm going to put that on the inside. It's the gel type mounting tape, like nano tape or alien tape. I use it in a lot of projects. It is wonderful. I didn't want to use hot glue here at all, because I can remove this battery pack at a later date if I choose to without making a big mess. But see the mood light that it gives? So pretty. Absolutely love this. From the bottom and the top, it's very romantic. The only place I'm putting this glue is on the outside where we have this lampshade flipped over. See, this is actually the bottom of the lampshade, but we flipped it because you can do that with lampshades. I'm just adding some glue right down in there. I'm not totally flooding it. It's okay. It's all right. All of this can be removed safely. This is not Gorilla Glue, so safely removed at a later date when I rewire this beautiful little lamp. So now I need to put this down in that holder. Once that glue is dried, I need to put it down in there, but it's too small and it's plastic. It's artificial. It's not going to screw in. I don't know what I was doing there. It won't stay though, but we can make it stay. See how it pops out? I'm going to grab my glue gun and we're going to make a little opening here. Just using my glue gun, I'm going to push up on that plastic and let it melt, going inward and upward to make a little, almost like a divot where you can let the cord go right through it. See there? Now the cord goes right through it, and the cord and the bulb itself will sit right down in the original opening for the light bulb. Yay! Don't you love it when something works out? Oh, I love this little lamp. So classy. So here are our pieces. I would love it if you are new here to subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up and hit your notification bell. Why should you subscribe to this channel? Because, for one thing, we have a great time on this channel. We're always active in the comments. We love budget-friendly crafting and thrift flips. We love Dollar Tree, and most of us love Temu. And we just love making the best out of what we have. We want to make things our own way. We take inspiration from one another. Lots of people in the comments, by the way, share how they would do things, and that's great because you're making it your own. You're learning something from this channel, and I love that. I want you to find joy in your day today and every single day because you matter. Your life matters. You're here on this earth for a reason. Look at all of this life in these beautiful pieces, all from one wallpaper roll. And I still have some left, so I can do actually even more. Think of how you can do these crafts to make them your own, right? Now see, I didn't use this for books, did I? I did not. Look how I used my little treasure box. I have some antique and retro and vintage little spools of thread and boxes, scissors. Just, they look so cute in here. And I don't even sew, y'all, but there's something so beautiful and antique and vintage about the pieces. There's something comforting about them. Probably because my grandmother used to sew everything. She did. She sewed everything. She had one of those old Singer sewing machines that hopefully one day my dad will get. I miss my grandma and I love her. All right, so here are the pieces in the dark. Very moody, very beautiful. Would look wonderful in so many different homes and styles, don't you think? I think that this little lamp would be such a cute nightlight. And all you'd have to do is just pop out your little piece in there and add your batteries whenever it starts to go dull. Look at it shining through his beautiful little chest and face. So pretty. And you see, it didn't need any additional antiquing. I thank you so much for stopping by today and every day that you come by. I'm going to see you very, very soon. Bye.